Hi guys. Now for the eagle-eyed amongst you, you will have realized that I actually have like a bald patch down here. And I don't know why. It's like kind of like an alopecia thing. I'm not even sure what it is, but it's not cool, man. But why? This is my that's like my defining feature, man. My beard. Anyway, who cares? It's not too much of a worry. This is Nanatsu no Taizai 239 to our captain. Now I really like this chapter. I thought it was pretty cool. The cover page we start off with was actually a really heartwarming and nice cover page. I wasn't expecting something like this from Nanatsu no Taizai, especially considering the characters who it involves. It's the commandments all smiling and kind of trolling once they'd broken free of the seal, which was really nice. I was like, yo, that's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. I need to stop saying nice. So yeah, so it was quite a cool thing to see, and I enjoyed that part of the chapter to begin with. The rest of the chapter also was pretty damn cool. So let's talk about it. Why? Anyway, this was another battle chapter. All right. So not that I'm not complaining about that. This was a good chapter. Now, in terms of the MVP, I think most of us are kind of agreed that it was King. King was MVP of this chapter, to our captain. My man was the long-range fighter, the DPS, the tank, all at the same freaking time. He was defending Chandler's attacks. He was defending his own attacks being full counted by Chandler, so they're coming back amplified in terms of their power, and he was still countering that. He was still defending against that. I was like, yo, this guy's going in, go in, King, and he was doing it really well. I thought, yo, okay, King, you're putting up a really decent fight here, and Chandler's kind of his hands are almost full with you guys. So he was constantly plaguing Chandler, and even though he was won out by Chandler in the end, he was going toe to toe. You have to realize he was going toe to toe with the highest ranked demon. Period. He's the highest ranked demon. Now, on the other hand, you could say Chandler was at half magical power because of Galtha, with his whole magic draining ability, which he introduced last chapter. But this point should only really serve as a credit to the seven deadly sins, to the sins, for their teamwork. Diane's contribution, so that was all King. King was kicking ass. I really enjoyed what he was doing. Tank, DPS, friggin' long range fighter, the sniper, all at the same friggin' time. He was going in this chapter. Diane's contribution was also nice. Nakaba's really showcasing how powerful the sins have gotten, and how powerful they've become over these last few weeks, and since their kind of training arcs that we all saw. The only one this didn't really count for was Ban, which I'll come on to next. She manages to land a hit, this is Diane, on Chandler. Although he's putting up an awesome fight, he definitely has his hands full with the sins. You see that this chapter, you see it last chapter. He is, maybe if he just, as soon as he snuck in, if he just decapitated each and every sin, he would have been fine, except for Ban. He would have been fine. He would have had no problems. But because he was curious, because he wanted to see who the sins were, he wanted to see who these people, who his young master, who Meliodas had been kind of gathering, and who these people, who he's chilling with are. He's kind of let himself down that way. So Chandler, a lack of expertise in that department. But yeah, he's definitely got his hands full. And I didn't like. One of the parts of the chapter I didn't like concerning Diane was I didn't like her little fairy tale throwback speech about each of their relationships. You know, she says, Meliodas needs Elizabeth, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. But then she's like, oh yeah, I need King. I'm like, okay. And she's like, Bond needs Elaine. I'm like, geez, okay, oh, for fuck's sake, okay. And then he's like, oh, the Demon King needs the Queen. I'm like, shit, man. Okay, we get it. Mel needs Elizabeth, just like y'all need somebody. We get it, all right. We don't care. You don't need to stuff it down our throats. It's the little things which you don't say and you hint at that are better than the things that you outright say. It's always better when it's hinted at, or if you perform an action to show it. You don't have to say that shit. So I didn't like that part. Coming on to Ban, I liked Ban's contribution. The full Nelson is the strongest move known to man. You get someone in the full Nelson, they're screwed. It happened to Raditz. Happened to I don't even know how many other people it's happened to. I know it happened to Raditz, and that was the initiation of the full Nelson, let's say. But realistically speaking, I hate how Ban was fodderized again. Fodderized yet again. I think most people who like Ban were also a little bit conflicted. They were like, well, they weren't conflicted. They were pissed off. Ban was fodderized again, and especially when Chandler says, "Just die again, you weakling." Nah, fam. Really, that's just harsh. That's harsh now. So I was like, what? Ban is getting fodderized left, right, and center. I do like, however, and this may be a little bit controversial for some of you guys, that Nakaba is being consistent with Ban. I want growth from Ban. That's what I want. I want Ban to grow, and I kind of want it to be a little bit quick as well, because he's not at the level of the other sins. They're all much higher in terms of power, in terms of ability, in terms of magical power, strength, everything, stamina. They're all above Ban at this moment in time, even though he's immortal. But I do want growth from Ban, whether it be fast or slow, preferably fast, and I don't want an almighty ass pull. So that's why I'm also happy that Nakaba is being consistent with Ban. He's not just like weak one chapter and then suddenly, oh yeah, he's freaking Ban the Amazing. I like how Ban is consistently weak, and hopefully we do get growth on that part. I also enjoyed, as usual, Ban's inner conflict and his guilt and regret over being kind of a dick and over being selfishly ignorant of everyone else's problems, especially Meliodas', who is his best friend. He mentions it a few times now, and he has mentioned it a few times now, that Meliodas is his best friend, and he's in that kind of pit of guilt and regret about not having recognized Meliodas' pain when he was kind of awash in his own. So I like that. Ban's inner conflict is always good, and I think that's why a lot of people like Ban, because he's kind of the most human of the lot, even though he is technically, apart from Escanor, the only human of the lot. So yeah, Ban is liked because he's the human, you know. I did not like the one part of the chapter which severely made me, this angered me, this part of the chapter. I did not like how Hawk freed Galtha. This does Chandler a huge disservice, and I really disliked it. I'm not sure about what the rest of you thought. Maybe the rest of you were cool with it, but I really disliked it. You don't become the highest ranked demon just because you have the highest magical power, alright? That certainly played a part. He's really powerful in terms of his magical ability, but that doesn't play the only part. He has to be freaking smart. He's battle hardened already, and he's incredibly experienced in battle. We've seen him talking about how he's fought fairies before, how he's fought giants before, how he's fought a whole multitude of different shitheads before, and different races, and it just shows how experienced this guy is, how incredibly battle hardened he is, and how aware he's been on the field. All of these things which contribute to you maintaining your life and staying alive on the battlefield. These are all things which have made Chandler who he is today. Even though he didn't really mention Hawk when he was listing the sins as kind of enemies, and he's like, I still feel he should have been aware of Hawk. More importantly, Hawk has been chatting shit all chapter. He's been chatting shit last chapter, this chapter. And it would have been a huge clue, especially because a lot of the times that he's chatting shit, Chandler's just there watching. He's not exactly he's not been knocked back or anything. It's the first part in this chapter where Hawk's like, oh yeah, let's go knock the shit out of Chandler. Chandler's just there, stood there like, hello, I'm still here listening. And I was like, Chandler should have recognized at this point in time, it's a clue to him that Hawk is a sentient being. He might be a threat. I can't let him get anywhere near me. I should probably kick his ass if he's anywhere near me and I have the opportunity to psychologically affect the sins by taking out one of their comrades, you know? So Chandler would also never, that's kind of additional to that point, is Chandler would also never have allowed Hawk to get so close to him. I understand Hawk's power level is so minuscule that Chandler probably didn't even sense him. But man's got eyes, and he would have seen his ass. Hawk just walked up to the guy, and I was like, really you're gonna do this? So I really did not enjoy that part of the chapter. Maybe you guys did. It's my opinion. Not a big fan of that part of the chapter. Elizabeth, heroes never die. You know, she straight up just comes throwing in that old mercy res. It was a nice contribution. About time she actually did something, though. She should have been helping these mofos, the sins, since the beginning of this fight. She should have been. It's Chandler. She's a goddess. He's a friggin' demon. She's meant to be a pretty powerful goddess. Help him along. You know, she doesn't need to be holding onto Meliodas' body for friggin' centuries. I understand her proximity is something to do with his healing, but man's healing by his onesies, and I think her proximity is also possibly slowing down his transition into like his old form, into his demonic form. But freaking slaying the guy who's gonna steal him away and totally mess up your plans with him, that's probably the first and foremost thing that you should be focused on, you know. So I like that Elizabeth did the heroes never die and she rezzed everyone and everything, but I just feel like she should have been contributing a little bit earlier than she has right now. She just kind of waited for them all to die and she was like, oh yep, I'm pressing cute. So, you know, I did like King and Gautha's combo attack Mark 2. You know, we got to see another combo attack with King attacking Chandler, and he kind of does like a special beam cannon, and Gautha steering Chandler's attack away by, you know, throwing using his I forgot what his bow's called. I had the name last chapter, but firing a shot into Chandler's arm and then steering away the attack away from King. So I really like that part again. But I do hope that Chandler isn't out. I'm hoping he's alive, and I'm hoping he retreats, and the Sins recognize that they don't really want to draw out the fight any longer, and they don't want to like antagonize Chandler into like his Endura form or some shit like that. So they don't want to push Chandler any further, and I'm hoping Chandler realizes, shit, I'm gonna have to go Endura, so I'd rather just retreat. Ban here could do Ban things and actually kill Chandler while he's down and out, but I want Chandler to have more substance to the story, you know. Ban would recognize, he's the type of guy that would recognize Chandler's down and out, the rest of us are kind of happy and stuff, I'm immortal, I've just been rezzed, and my stamina's pretty good, I could totally kill this guy. I reckon Ban would do something like that, but I really want Chandler to have more of a contribution to the story later on too. I feel his defeat, if he does retreat, would humble the remaining demons, like, oh shit, the highest ranked demon just got put down. And it would also humble Chandler. It would be awesome to see him being humbled, you know, the best of demons. And it would serve to improve the fights down the line, and just the story in general. A revenge match down the line, the Sins coming up to the remaining demons, would be awesome. You know, Zeldaris would be there, pissed off at Meliodas just because he's always pissed off. Esterossa would be there pissed off at Escanor. He'd be like, yo, you toasted me last time, you know. He's like in Mortal Kombat, one toasty. You gotta have that fight again. And then Chandler would be there like, yo, you all took me out last time, this is a revenge match, and this time I know what to do. So it'd be awesome to see that kind of trope, that general that kind of, I don't know what the word is, but you know what I mean, that kind of that revenge match once again. So yeah, let me know what I think that's the end of the chapter. Yeah, that's the end of the chapter. Let me know what you guys thought. This has actually been a longer review than I thought it was going to be. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys thought of the chapter in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next edition.